Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We greet you here nightly. KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan, which is where we find Andrew Fillipponi at the PM team. And Andrew, we have a lot to get into tonight. Joe Flacco, the Steelers injury update. But I want to first start with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Number one, the two teenagers were really good. I thought Ben Kindle was out there late in the game, and he showed he was very poised. And certainly the same could be said for Harrison Brunig. Both look good. And the other thing was I didn't notice any breakdowns on the Penguins. In other words, last year we watched this team under Mike Sullivan, and there were too many times we saw 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, 4-on-2s, odd man breaks. They look very fundamentally sound tonight.
Yeah, for the most part, I would agree. I mean, you held the Rangers to 25 shots. Brunig took an early penalty in the game, and he only took one more the entire game. So it was not a power play special teams game at all. So the game was mostly played at even strength. And they've got two very potent lines there in New York, and he pretty much held them in check the entire night. Now, on those highlights, we did see, for those that are listening on the Fan, they can't see this, you played it for them, that great, it was a terrible giveaway that led to that Zibanejad chance, but that was really the one big save that Arthur Shelov's had to make the entire game, and he stood tall there. That's not a save Tristan Jarry made a lot the last couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, they won, but I'm very conflicted, and I will be until the Penguins, look like they're legit, because right now I'm in the Gavin McKenna mindset. And so when they win, it's really bittersweet for me, Bob, because I want Gavin McKenna. I don't want to finish 5 points out of a playoff spot. I want the best young prodigy player we've seen in a very long time who's playing for Penn State right now. The best thing going for Penn State, as a matter of fact. Much better than their football program at the moment. So that's my goal this season, is to get Gavin McKenna here by any means possible.
But even if you have the number one pick, or odds have, the Islanders last year had the best odds again. It doesn't work always that way. When it's a lottery, you never really know. All I know is what I saw tonight was a system that looked pretty good, and we'll see where it takes them. Our Penn West University KDKA.com Connect poll tonight involves the goaltenders. Who should be the Penguins goalie moving forward? Your choices are Shelovs and Tristan Jarry. Some would say Sergei Murashov, but he's not yet here. He will be eventually. But again, Shelovs is 24 years old. We had to like what you saw from Koivunen, who's 22, and the two teenagers. They got some pretty decent talent, and I'll give Kyle Dubas a lot of credit for stockpiling in the last couple of years as he continues to keep those veterans in place. So I hear what you're saying, but there's no guarantee even if you have the best odds in the lottery. So
let me ask you a question right now, Bob. Let's just put it all on the table. Take your cards out, and let's let everybody know how you feel. If I gave you two options, just like The Price is Right, there's curtain number one, there's curtain number two, and behind curtain number one's a playoff spot. Behind curtain number two is the number one overall pick in next summer's draft.
But again,
what would you pick?
You're not going to be guaranteed that in a lottery.
I'm just saying if I could guarantee that to you, what would you pick? The playoff spot or the number one pick?
Given the fact that, okay, if you have the number one pick and if you're guaranteeing me it's Gavin McKenna,
yes,
fine.
I am.
But you don't know that. So I'm going to choose also. I want to see Sidney Crosby play playoff hockey before his career is over here. And he hasn't had it for 3 straight years.
Well,
so
if he gets Gavin McKenna, he could do more than just play first round and done. He could do big damage.
It's easy to say you win the lottery, but you don't know if you could win a lottery.
Bob, you got to give yourself a shot here.
Okay, may
this
do
is
that
like
by
a
merit.
LeBron James
they may
talent.
Do that by
this
merit.
is a LeBron James.
Okay.
This is a guy that's maybe once in a lifetime.
Okay,
I want to try to get the once in a lifetime guy.
You don't have to have the number one best odds. You could have the 9th best odds and still win it. So you don't have to be the worst team in the NHL. I want to see this team and some of these young players progress. That's all, and I am not guaranteed of anything.
And you can still hit blackjack if you hit on 17, but you shouldn't. Give yourself the best odds possible to get the guy. In 1984, they weren't saying after winning, or 1984, they weren't saying after winning game one,
yeah, but
let's make the playoffs.
Back then. It was
well,
not.
Still, you give yourself the best shot, Bob.
Okay, fine, but you're not guaranteed. I'm not gonna listen. Connor Bedard is with Chicago. This is year 3. They look terrible even with him. look how many years it takes to get here, even with good time.
And look at what Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby did for the Penguins franchise.
That. But what I'm telling you is it's not guaranteed. So I can't hold this team hostage trying to play badly. If they play better than you think, so what are you going to do then? So you're going to see two young kids play, and they play well, and what are you going to knock them and play them after a while? You're going to bench certain players?
No, I mean, look, you're not going to go 0-80. Look, you're not going to go. You don't need to go 0-82 to win the lottery. But
that's what my point is. That's what my point is.
I understand that, but I think we're wired differently this year. You want to see them make the playoffs. I don't. I want to see them get Gavin McKenna. And I know the lottery's not fixed. Gary Bettman's not getting, it's not like the cold envelope for Patrick Ewing. I understand that. But if I have my druthers, which we do as a fan, what are you rooting for? I'm rooting for the number 1 pick. I'm not rooting for, let's, hope that we're 3 points out of a wild card spot in mid-April. That does nothing for me. And you know who agrees with me? Kyle Dubas. He has said as much. He's not trying to build a team that just make the playoffs. He's trying to build a team that can compete long-term.
And
the shortcut is Gavin McKenna.
Even without Gavin McKenna, if you do the right thing in the draft. We got to take a break. We're way over on this. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. What do you think? Call us about that and the Steelers facing Joe Flacco now in 10 days. What do you think about that as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals? It's all coming up as we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. Comes from the NFL on CBS. Very interesting because we have the most reception yards among tight ends this season. It's Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Better than Dalton McCade, better than Trey McBride, better than Sam Laporta. And those Colts are on a roll right now as they've been playing very good football. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Join us here. And before I get to the phone lines, Andrew, I want to ask you about Joe Flacco. Because I was a little surprised by this deal today, only because it came in division, and it leaves Cleveland with 2 rookies as their quarterbacks, and that's it. Were you surprised by it, and what do you think of it?
And Joe Flacco's going to try to turn back the clock again, just like he did his first stint in Cleveland when he led them to the playoffs a few years ago.
And then Steelers are very familiar with him, especially from his days in Indianapolis and in Cleveland. All right, let's get to the phone lines.
I believe Flacco has the most wins by a quarterback ever against the Steelers with 11. I think he has that record.
It's up there if it's not the top, yes. He knows how to do it, but the thing is, he's going behind an offensive line that is in disarray. Yep. And for him, he needs time to make some of those long throws that he's known for, especially with those 2 wideouts. Let's get to our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. We're going to Butler and talk to Matt, who's on line 4. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, Andrew. 1 win for the Penguins, and you're ready to take the bridge. I mean, my goodness.
What's take the bridge mean? What do you mean by that?
Screaming. You want them to lose. You want them to lose so that they can get maybe a lottery pick. That isn't.
Come on, stop.
No.
It's not a fan move. How did they get Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby? How is that not being a good fan?
Don't worry about 20 years ago. Worry about tonight. Be happy with the win and move on.
Thanks, man. I understand.
Matt.
Listen, I get what you're saying, Andrew. I do. But I also know there is no guarantee in it all. And there's no telling how things work out. I'll go back to the Capitals when they changed coaches, and all of a sudden they turned into a team that many people didn't even recognize with some new players and a new system in place. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. And I want to see Dan Hughes. He's trying to win.
Look, this isn't a binding opinion of mine. I'm not held here hostage in the fact that if I say this now, I can't change my mind if they get off to a good start. Heck, if they're in first place in November, I'll say, great, keep winning. But right now, my mindset and attitude for the season is to try to get Gavin McKenna. I don't understand how anybody who's lived in this town and has watched hockey can find that to be remotely controversial when the biggest reason why this is one of the most successful hockey teams of all time is because they tanked to get the most important sports figure outside Roberto Clemente in this entire city's history.
Again,
they lost games on purpose. So why am I getting crap for that?
You're not. I'm telling you, they did it with no lottery system.
I am from Butler. He said, go jump off the bridge. That wasn't a very nice thing to say.
Well, what I'm saying is back then there was no lottery, which meant if you were the worst team, you got the number 1 pick regardless. And that's, to me, how it still should be. I know people worry about how teams handle that situation, but now with a lottery system in place, you're not guaranteed. You could have the best odds and still not get the top 5 picks the way it goes. So it is truly a lottery system, and you're not guaranteed. That's all I'm saying. So I want to see guys play well. I want to see younger guys develop, and he has a lot of them in his system. All right, back to the lines we go. We got Kirk and Manor joining us right now. Hey, Kirk, how you doing?
Hey, how are you guys tonight?
Good.
You
Thanks.
think about it, last year the lottery was a factor in the draft position thing. We ended up taking Kindle.
Yeah, but not until 11th overall.
Well.
We're talking about the number 1 pick.
Exactly. 11 is great. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Well, you never
So
know
can
who it's going to
always pick
be. You know,
But there was not a transformative player in last year's
No.
draft. The kid Schaefer went number 1 overall. 99% of hockey fans outside of the real diehards had no clue who the guy was.
Right.
This is a once, not maybe in a lifetime, because we've seen Connor McDavid and Sid, but this is a transcendent player. This is a guy that absolutely could be a future Hart Trophy winner.
But that doesn't
and we're
mean you're gonna get
celebrating one win, and I know it doesn't mean that, but I'm just saying that's who I want to try to play for this year. I want Gavin
But
McKenna.
you just
I'm not
said
gonna
if they're
celebrate.
in first place in November, you would change your mind.
Sure, absolutely.
How about if they are then?
Because okay, then what? Then great. But I mean, that's 20. That's not 20 games. That's 15 games into the season and not one. I mean, do Pirates fans throw a parade after winning on opening day? Who cares? It's 1 of 82 games right now, Bob.
But I think they look much more structurally sound tonight with a new head coach. We'll see how it goes. Back to the lines. We got Brian in North Huntington. Hello, Brian. What's up?
I want to switch up here and talk about the Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the trading deadline is the Tuesday after Week 9. I'd like to ask, will the Steelers do one of 3 things? Will they, A, get a receiver, a defensive end, B, make a move that no one sees coming, i.e. Micah Fitzpatrick dropped in from the planet Mars that 1 year, or C, do nothing at all because Omar Khan simply couldn't pull anything off and there's just too much competition out there?
I mean, it depends. It could be C when there's, depending on the field. I still think they need more help at wide receiver. And we're going to find out with Calvin Austin probably not playing this week. We'll see what happens. Does Roman Wilson answer it? Does it become more of a tight end friendly passing scheme? It depends on how they decide to play it, Andrew. I was a little surprised at the snaps from the tight ends. I know what they were trying to do, and as a result, Spencer Anderson became the most eligible guy in Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin gave one of the most cockamamie answers I've ever heard in my entire life on that today. When he said 4-3 defenses, we got to play bigger guys. Bob, they played a 4-3 defense in Week 1, and Freiermuth outsnapped Darnell Washington in that game. Okay, Cincinnati's been playing a 4-3 for years. He mentioned playing them in 2 weeks. Pat Freiermuth had the game of his life against a 4-3 defense a couple of years ago. It's not as black and white as that. It just isn't. It hasn't been. Have Steelers fans ever discussed that? Well, we're playing a 4-3 this week. I guess that means Pat Freiermuth's going to sit on the bench and we're going to see Darnell Washington.
I agree.
And Tomlin acted like every single person knew that that's been their MO all along. If Pat Freiermuth is really a guy who gets reduced snap counts when you play a certain defense, why in the world would you give the guy the amount of money they did last offseason?
And for that matter,
that makes
Jonnu
no
Smith.
sense to me.
Jonnu Smith's
right,
making
he
the same
barely
amount
played.
of money.
If you add up Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth's snaps in the Minnesota game, still fewer snaps than Darnell Washington. How about that?
That's not good. No, I agree. But I understand what they did against Minnesota. But I think moving forward, they can't use that every week. And they have to utilize the guys who are the tight ends and are better served moving the ball down the field in the passing game. We got to take a break here. Jeff, hang on. We'll get to you in South Park. Don in parts unknown. We'll try to get to you as well next, right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, welcome back. We continue right here. Bob Pompeani, Andrew Fillipponi at your service. We're going to go back to the hotline. We have Jeff in South Park. Hello, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, Bob. I'm on your side. Not only is it not a viable strategy, I know Pony disagrees with me on this, but you also have to think, even though the Penguins look bad on paper, I think there's a lot of teams in the NHL, not even just in the West, but even some in their own division that are really bad on paper. I feel like there's probably a lot of teams that are kind of trying for this same strategy, and if everybody's going to tank for McKenna, it's just not a viable strategy. I'd rather see them play better, develop, and look much. And, what a difference a year makes. The opener last year, they lost 6-0. and Jari gives up a goal on the first shot of the season. You know,
that happened like 15 times.
Was completely insulated and barely had to make any spectacular saves. I mean, what a different. Like, the Steelers should take note that sometimes that you know, you need to shake things up and you need a new voice.
Yeah, it's only one game though, but yes, that's how I feel. I know Andrew feels differently about this. We'll see how it goes, but I was encouraged with how they played today. I thought they were the better team all the way through, and I thought Dan Muse outcoached Mike Sullivan.
Well, you called the Rangers not being as good as advertised, Bob.
I did.
So I have to tip my cap to you. I mean, it's 1 out of 82
it
again,
is.
But still. Yeah, I just wake me up at Halloween, and if they're trending like a good team, I'll give up my tank for Gavin McKinnis spiel. But right now, it's suck for Gavin is how I look at it.
I get it, and what an acquisition that would be. 21 years after Sidney Crosby, and then 21 years before him was Mario Lemieux.
Bob, sorry for yelling at you tonight.
What's that?
Sorry for yelling at you.
Oh, that's all right. That's no big deal. I always appreciate your opinions and your passion. Good night, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow.